Hi, everybody in podcast land and also on YouTube. I'm James.
I'm David.
I'm Riley.
And today on the Carpool Critics Movie Podcast, we are covering Martin Scorsese's 2006 film, The Departed.
The Departed.
So good that there's an R in The Departed that you can
It's
you can
true.
Bostonize the title. I love it.
I love when there's an R that you can intentionally not pronounce.
Yeah, it's actually culturally insensitive to pronounce the R.
And spoiler alert for this movie, it came out in 2006, just so you know.
Yeah, you're Irish. You're allowed to do the Boston accent,
That's
right?
true. I can do it. You guys can't. It's
I'm Irish,
racist.
too.
You're French, so
You can get away with Irish.
you can only be
I can
one
do
thing.
Irish. No,
You can't.
that's not true.
Try.
Anyways, if you guys are in our carpool of listeners who watched the movie ahead of time, next week is a sad week. Next week, we're doing the Snyder cut of the Justice League. It's 4 hours long. It's in a 4:3 aspect ratio. Parts of it are black and white, I think. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, why am I excited?
We do this for you.
Dude, I'm actually excited kind of now, too.
After watching Man of Steel.
I watched Man of Steel, because before, if you guys have watched our Wonder Woman episodes, you know that I've watched almost no DCEU.
Right.
Then I watched Man of Steel, I was like, okay, everyone says this sucks. I guess I'll watch it.
We're here having watched like the DC movies a long time ago, and we're just like, oh, here we go again, and you're like, cool.
Well, what I realized was I loved 300 when it came out. I mean, I was like 16.
Oh yeah, I loved 300 too.
I like Watchmen a lot more than a lot of people do.
Yeah.
I really like Watchmen. And then I realized, I'm like, why have I never watched the Snyder superhero movies if I like Snyder?
Well,
That's true.
we'll talk about it on the episode.
Can't
We
wait.
shall.
There
That's
are
next week.
reasons.
Next week, everybody. But today, it's The Departed all day.
All day long.
Okay, David, give this movie a rating out of 10.
The Departed takes 2.5 hours to make the same point as The Fast and the Furious in a reality almost as cartoony.
Wait, what?
But at least it's really fun.
I-
7.1 out of 10.
Can't wait to
What the
hear
heck?
about that. I
It
can't
is.
wait.
It
Fast
is like
and the Furious.
Looney Tunes. This movie.
What?
I can't wait to hear this Fast and the Furious comparison. Riley.
Okay, yeah, we'll get back to that. Some alternative titles for this movie: Rat Race, The Great Rat Detective, Rats, the musical, or my personal favorite, Anxiety, the movie. But that speaks to its effectiveness at getting the vibe across, which it definitely does. 8 out of 10. Yeah, I didn't know what to do it. We were talking about this
No, that's
earlier. It's like, it feels like a good movie because I saw it a long time ago and I know it won Academy Awards and I've liked it for a long time. But then on this rewatch, I was kind of like, ugh, and maybe it's just because I've watched it too many times.
I feel
I don't
that,
know.
actually. I remember
Yeah.
my memory of this movie being like, that's a great movie. And I definitely saw it at least twice in the knots.
Yeah.
And loved it. But then on this rewatch, maybe it's just because it's the type of movie where the suspense and the unknown really plays a role.
Right,
But this
and if you
rewatch
know-
wasn't as sick.
Yeah, the roller coaster ride isn't quite there when you know all the twists and turns. But
think-
what's your slogan in your
My
rating?
slogan is, The Departed is a tense, fast-paced crime drama full of stimulating game theory puzzles and a star-studded cast of memorable characters using language from the golden age of hate speech.
Nice.
8.25 out of 10.
Oh, 8.2. That's what I was going to give it.
It's a good movie.
Yeah, it's a
Before I
really good movie.
Just took it down a peg during our discussion.
I think it's a great watch. I think that it's entertaining the whole way through. And it is 2.5 hours, but you don't really feel it.
I think it's like
Yeah.
an earned 2.5.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially because when you're like, okay, it's over now. How is there another 25 minutes? That last 25 minutes is sick.
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
it's so
strong disagree, but we'll get into
Oh my
it.
God! Right after this mention from our sponsor. I'm not a corp.
Tell me you're not a fucking cop. It's
have
so
to.
hard.
In Twatman.
All of the rules.
You just go Elmer Fudd.
Yeah, in Twatman.
No. You say those R's. Okay, here's real quick on the New York versus Boston accent. They're very similar, but I found that the New York one, if you say like something like, "Are you a cop?" Like a New York person would be like, "Listen, are you a cop? Are you a cop?" And a Boston person says, "Are you a cop?" They're reversed.
Ah.
The vowel sounds are weird.
Thank you.
Anyways,
been a
it's
great
hard, guys.
Accent minute with Riley.
But moving on.
I think when I think about it, my score is kind of judged on a few meta elements that the movie can't help. This is the movie that won Martin Scorsese his only Oscar, and it's
That guy only has one Oscar?
yeah, he won Best Director for this, nothing else, and it's one of
can't
those things
stop.
where it's like, come on, man, like Academy, give him his awards for Taxi Driver, give him his award for like Raging Bull.
You know,
or
this is how I
Goodfellas.
feel about DiCaprio, where he got his Best Actor award for The Revenant.
Yeah.
And Tom Hardy should have, he
Yeah.
was more Oscar worthy in that movie
Yeah.
than DiCaprio was just kind of there in that
Totally.
movie.
When they award people for a lifetime of achievement with a specific movie, it
Yeah.
kind of sucks. And I think that it goes to make me feel like this movie is overrated because I feel like this movie is deeply unimportant. It's kind of a frivolous movie, and not in a bad way, in a fun way. Like it's just a pulpy cop
Right.
thing, and it's awesome at that. It does that really well. It's super exciting. The twists are great, and like it engages your mind just enough that you're like, oh, what's gonna happen next?
Yeah. I completely agree. There's some like kind of set dressing with some sort of like racial tension stuff in the beginning, and I mean, Billy says to his black friend in the academy, he's like, well, you know, being black in Boston, you're already fucked, and there's some stuff like that, but like other than that, it doesn't really say anything about the world or what should happen or things that we want to say. Or what that we want to see in a movie when you're like looking for meaning of that variety. But it's very fun. It's a fun.
Totally.
I mean, I loved it when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Like me and all my friends watched this many, many times because we like thought they were so cool. All those mafia people.
Mark Wahlberg.
It would be so fun to be in the mafia.
His fucking fucks. I fucking fuck every.
I gotta say right off the top, that's like one of my favorite things about the angry Boston person archetype is how often they just tell each other to go fuck themselves.
Yeah.
How's your mother? Busy fucking my father. Like. And then, I mean, we could talk about that later.
There's some lovable characters in this movie,
I love it. Mark Wahlberg, I wish he was in the movie more.
Him and Baldwin was amazing too.
When he punches
like,
the dude.
He's like, yeah, being married is great. Tells people you're not a homo. Tells the women you got cash. It's like hilarious.
Like, here's why marriage is good. All the wrong reasons.
Says your dick's working. Oh, it's working overtime.
That's good to hear. Son.
Okay, hold on. We need to do the synopsis.
Yeah, we do. All right. So we alluded to this. A lot of stuff happens in this movie, and they squish it into 2.5 hours, which is impressive. But here we go. In South Boston, the year of your mother, 1986, young Colin Sullivan is recruited by Irish mob boss Frank Costello. 20 years later, Colin serves as a mole for Frank inside the state police. Another police recruit, Billy Costigan Jr., is pressured by Captain Queenan and Sergeant Dignam into going undercover with Frank's crew, which he does after serving jail time for extra street cred. Colin begins dating and eventually impregnates police psychiatrist Madeline Madden, who later befriends Billy, unbeknownst to either of them. Frank suspects a rat in his crew, making Billy's emotional state worse as the pressure increases, while Colin is promoted and tasked with finding Frank's rat in the police, i.e. himself. When Billy finds out Frank is actually an FBI informant, he arranges a meeting with Queenan, but Frank's men also show up. Queenan helps Billy escape before being thrown to his death. Dignam, the only other cop who knows of Billy's role, flips out at Colin and is suspended. Colin contacts Billy on Queenan's phone, then finds out Frank is an informant, and then decides to help the police capture Frank following a tip from Billy. Most of Frank's crew are killed by police during a cocaine drop-off, where Colin confronts Frank and ends up killing him. Billy goes to Colin to reveal his undercover status, but notices an envelope on the desk, realizes Colin was Frank's rat, and then flees. Later, Billy finds evidence proving Colin was a rat, and meets Colin on the rooftop, where he arrests him with Billy's friend from the academy also there as a witness. Here we go, guys. But Billy and his friend are shot by another cop who was also a mole working for Frank. He releases Colin, who promptly murders him because he wants out, I guess. Sometime later, Colin returns home to find Dignam waiting. Dignam shoots Colin in the head and walks out as the camera settles on a rat with the State House in the background.
Boo.
It's a bit over it's been on the nose
Yeah, it's
there.
like, oh yeah, there's a rat in all of this. Yeah, apparently there's a fan petition, or like not even a fan petition, like a crowdfund campaign to digitally remove the rat. Because it's so fucking dumb.
Yeah, it's a bit like, okay, it's a rat.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
part
don't
of
know.
that, I was wondering, I'm like, what is the significance of having the view of the State House? They really...
It's because he's ambitious. Sullivan is ambitious and will do anything to get ahead, I guess. But that's not really in the movie.
Well,
that's like the analysis I've seen. But I'm like, is that really part of the movie?
I think it's also a bit of irony, given that like he is moving up in the like institution of the police, which is a state thing, while also being this like horrible criminal on in the background. You know, I don't know. I appreciate it just for that as like a kind of a environmental cool thing.
Even world building wise?
I think that the best thing in this movie is the characters. I think across the board, except for one, they're all really well defined. They're all really interesting. Their motivations are clear, and the way they interplay is super fun and super exciting.
Definitely.
And like the movie adds more and more layers to each of them as you go on. Like you find out that Frank is an FBI informant, maybe.
Yeah.
And at the end, you find out he is, and like that dynamic on top of like the duality of the undercover cop versus the undercover mob is really fun and really
the presentation
interesting.
is great too, because you're like, at first you just kind of compute, okay, the crisscross of like double agentness going on. But then you get used to that, and then in the second half of the movie, that's when they start to amp up the holy crap. There's other undercover people we don't know about on both sides.
Oh, for me, yeah, the point where the duality of the movie really is awesome is when when Frank's crew is going to meet the Chinese buyers of the chips, and while Sullivan's texting Frank's crew, Costigan, he's messaging the FBI being like, what's going on? And like that was the point where I'm like, oh,
Wait, you mean the state police?
The state police, sorry.
Yeah.
And that's when it becomes interesting. I was like, okay, the duality of this is paying off. Because I felt for the first hour, when they're presenting them as like the same and kind of doing the match cuts and stuff, it's interesting, but I also felt like it was kind of a waste of time. Because like, what is this presenting to me that's not super obvious? That being an undercover cop is worse than being a dirty cop? Like, that's not interesting. Like, that's where I get the Fast and Furious stuff. I'm like, that's a point they make in the Fast and the Furious. Like, being an undercover cop is hard because you get torn with these allegiances and it's like difficult.
That's what
and
you mean.
And it's like such a simple idea. And eventually they do use it to kind of build compound ideas, and it gets better.
Yeah.
But for the first
so you're
hour
talking about
of the movie,
like kind of at the beginning where, and like in the first hour, there's a cut that goes from Sullivan at the French restaurant, like his first date with the therapist, and it's so upscale and fun and nice, and then it cuts from that to Costigan like getting his cast put on his broken hand.
I love that whole sequence, just like contrasting the difficulty with which they're like comparatively dealing with their situations. Because I think you expect the criminal undercover in the police department to like be more stressed out, like, oh, I could get caught, I could go to jail or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But it's actually like Matt Damon's character is so composed and like really good at lying, whereas Costigan has like a lot more difficulty with it. And
the threats are so much more immediate in the criminal world. Like if he gets found out, they're just gonna like put him in the river that day.
Yeah. Right.
Where if Matt Damon's character gets found out, he's just gonna like have to go to court.
Yeah, it makes more sense for sure. And they did a great job of making that, as I said, the anxiety just palpable. Like, I feel like it's also Leo DiCaprio's face. He just like looks
anguished.
Yeah. It's like he's always frowning. He's just always frowning about something. And you just like see all the things in his mind just like racing, just being like, "How can I do it?"
This movie, this was the same year as Blood Diamond, and that was like his resurgence.
Yeah.
I don't know which one came out first, like month-wise, but he was like gone off the scene for a while.
Because he was teen heartthrob, and then he grew out of that, and he needed a renaissance.
Then he came back with these two movies, and it was like sealed, solidified. Yeah. This guy is the champion from now on.
I forgot how friggin' handsome he was when he was young, because now he's just like schlubby looking. But damn, I was like, whoa, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, man. Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah.
He's a slick boy.
Slick boy.
Another cool thing is how I think that you don't like really hate Sullivan, especially in the first hour. They're kind of both interesting, cool characters, and you're kind of... It's a Scorsese movie, so you're used to rooting for bad people. So you're kind of rooting for both of them in their own way. And I think the way that they show you the information at the beginning of the movie plays into that. Because we see and meet Sullivan first. We meet him as a kid, and we're going to like any kid that we meet. And then we also know just the conditions of how he's growing up. We're giving him the benefit of the doubt, like, product of your environment kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then we don't really meet Costigan until later, but then we relate to him for different reasons. He had a crappy life growing up, and then he's going to end up being like in the moral position. He's the good guy, so we're going to like him for that. So they give us these like different reasons to like these two people, so we can simultaneously like them both, because if you just kind of hated the one, it wouldn't be as good.
Yeah, I think that the movie is in total control of how you feel about each character at like the entire runtime, because Marky Mark's kind of the same, where he has this full arc of like, okay, this guy's like pretty funny, like whatever, and then he goes a bit too far, and you're like, oh yeah, shut the fuck up, Marky Mark, that's enough. But then at the end you're like, you're my guy, Marky Mark.
This is the thing.
What?
He's so hateable.
Yeah.
He's such an asshole the whole time that you don't expect him to come and save the day and save the movie.
Exactly.
Because like you're just kind of glad he's gone.
Yeah, exactly. Fuck yeah, suspend that piece of shit.
Okay, I guess we could talk about. I don't know. I didn't feel that way at all about Dignam.
Oh, you weren't happy at the end when he shows up to kill Sullivan?
No, I think I was like, haha, God is just desserts. But then as he walked out, I'm kind of like, everyone died. I was like, it's kind of a lame ending. I don't know. Like I appreciate something where it's like a character has to wrestle with the implications of something or whatever. And I think maybe we got a little bit of that where Sullivan realizes that, the choices that he's made in his life kind of led to this time where his pregnant girlfriend is now leaving him, and his circle of support, I guess. His background, his network or whatever. Frank's crew are all dead, and so he's out there on his own. It's like, and there is this sense that he's kind of like, oh, I got away, and now I can like move up the ranks even more in the police. But I don't know. It was it was a victory.
Well, let me tell you,
it was a victory, but it was kind of an empty
Hong Kong original
victory.
is ending.
Oh yeah,
Is it different? Because
different.
I was going to say that the fact that everyone dies I knew that this movie was based on a Hong Kong classic from 2002 called Infernal Affairs, and I wonder if this
Infernal?
is Infernal
Oh, I
Affairs.
didn't.
Better name than The Departed.
I misread the.
And I wonder if this is like the Asian-ness of it. It's like everybody dying. That seems like a more Asian ending.
No, so like Sullivan's equivalent Lau actually survives, and he lives in like a constant fear and paranoia. And the title in Chinese, so not the Hong Kong title, which is Infernal Affair, but the Chinese title is like the equivalent of like basically the worst purgatory or hell ever. And it's about how Lau will be trapped in hell, even though he survives. This constant paranoia and fear and guilt that he lives with is a fate worse than death.
Yeah.
And I think that's a more interesting ending than just killing everyone, because it's like, oh, it's over.
Yeah, and I think I was also kind of disappointed by Dignam surviving and being the ultimate kind of hero in that way, in a certain way, because he was such an asshole. I'm like, I understood him being an asshole to recruit a Costigan into the undercover thing, because it's like, all right, we gotta see whether you got what it
crack
takes,
under
right?
pressure.
That interrogation scene where they're like going hard on him and just like breaking him down and like you're a piece of shit, you're nothing, and Costigan has to like withstand it. Is them like trying to see whether you can withstand this, right?
He's testing him.
Yeah. And so I understood him being an asshole in that scenario, but then he just like kept being worse and worse and worse. And he's just like, you're a piece of shit, even though like you're giving us important information and we need you. It's like, I'm still going to treat you like trash. I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah, the fact
Have a
that
heart.
he seemingly builds no loyalty for Costigan is a little bit disappointing.
Yeah.
Because you're like, this guy's putting his life on the line every minute of every day.
Exactly. Why does he hate him so much?
I think it's just so that the payoff at the end, when he's the one that saves the day, it is a huge payoff.
Yeah,
Well,
it's a movie. There's conflict
Yeah.
at all times.
It's a
true. That's
movie.
true.
Good answer.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit more Leo, because I think overall his performance is excellent. I think this might be my favorite Leo acting performance ever.
Really?
I think he's so nuanced, but also like intense and crazy. Like you said, his anxiety is off the charts.
Yeah.
And I bought it. Like I bought his descent into needing pills and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's cool
Right.
that we get to see multiple sides of him because he has the
Totally.
relationship with the therapist
Yeah.
where he's not just pretending all the time.
For sure. Yeah,
Man.
I like that one scene with the therapist where she's like, your vulnerability is really freaking me out right now. Is it real? And he replies, I think so. Because he's
Yeah.
like, he's had to pretend to be another person for so long. He doesn't even know whether like the things that he's feeling are real or not. I thought that was really cool. Like, yeah, and that's a great scene where we kind of get to see a bit more of a, I'm not stressed and looking around the corner every 2-3 seconds, because I feel like though I needed a bit more of that. In the
Totally.
movie.
I wonder.
Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say. I wonder if that's why the therapist. What's her name?
Madeline.
Madeline is
Played by Vera Farmiga?
I wonder if that's what attracts her to him. Is that, like, at least he's real in these moments. He's imperfect, but he's real. Whereas
Yeah.
like Sullivan is just always has this layer up.
I think that's
Yeah.
what the movie is going for. That's another thing that's different. In the original, there's two love interests. They each have their own, but they tried to compress it into one character. And I think that's one of the worst decisions they made in this
It's
movie.
a bit of a
It's
cheesy-
so contrived
Yeah.
that they would go to the same therapist. Like he's one's a cop and the other one's an undercover cop. I don't think they're sending undercover cops to the same therapist if they're trying
Sullivan
to keep...
doesn't go to that therapist. He just meets her in the elevator.
That's
Oh,
fair.
that's
That's
true.
fair. That's
Yeah.
worse.
But
that's worse.
Yeah, but still,
Yeah.
it's like
You're right.
chance. It's just
Yeah.
like, oh well,
Whoa.
these two rats
But
just
I-
happened.
But
to...
she's still a cop therapist because that's why she's in the building and she deals with like.
But
cops
she
with
doesn't even know
PTSD.
that Costigan is an active cop. As far as she knows, she's treating someone who
But that's,
dropped out.
That's weirder though. Like it's all a big contrivance that this one person, this one therapist in Boston is the only person that these people can find.
I think it's
Yeah.
worth it because I really like everything that comes of that.
Really? Oh, I don't. I think that it all feels so artificial to me.
Yeah,
And
and
like her character is so thin.
Mm.
Like she has like her motivations and the reasons why she likes these people are like so
yeah,
fake.
who is she?
Yeah, like she.
I don't know who she is.
What's his face? Leo does this crazy like psycho breakdown of her and yells at her. He's like, "Fuck you," whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Goes away and she comes up and she's like, "Fine, fucking take your prescription." He's like, "Do you want to go on a coffee date
Yeah,
with me?"
and she's like, okay.
I believe that she would go with him because listen,
What are you talking about?
leading up to that moment, he owned her, man. She's so passive. He does her job. He psychoanalyzes her, and she
Yeah.
just sits there, takes it, doesn't know what to say. She's totally caught off guard in her element because she's so weak. And then And then
That's what I'm saying. She's a weak character.
She is a weak character, and
That
she
sucks.
totally capitulates, like, and gives him what he asked for. Like, fine, here's your pills. I'll just do whatever you say. Apparently, you're in the driver's seat. So given that she's so weak and wimpy, I totally believe that she'd go on a date with him.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think so. I don't think that the movie succeeds at making me feel like she's doing that because she's being weak. I think that it's just like we need these two to have a love triangle because that's a
Yeah.
more interesting movie.
Like how many times would she have had a person in her office screaming at her, being like, "I'm gonna kill myself unless you give me pills."
Oh, that's so hot.
Who's as good looking as
Oh,
Leo
whatever.
DiCaprio?
Yeah, but it's a movie reality, so everyone's good. I think it just goes to make this movie feel really cartoony to me, or
Yeah.
very movie-ish,
My-
where like
my-
the reality of this movie, it requires a lot of suspension of disbelief to believe what's going on in this movie.
For sure. My problem with the character also is that she doesn't do anything. Like
Yeah.
she has no impact on the plot whatsoever, and she doesn't even really have an impact on like the two characters. Like she kind of helps Billy a little bit feel a bit better, I guess, but then he's still like it doesn't really make an impact on his emotional state overall.
And there's not even a real payoff to her having sex with Costigan. Like, it's not like
Yeah.
he finds out. Apparently, there's a theory that, because apparently Matt Damon made the character choice that he's an impotent character.
Right.
And so that the baby's probably Costigan's.
Yeah, that's-
But, like, that's
Yeah.
not in the movie.
I don't know.
Well, yeah,
it's
it is.
implied.
It is?
Dude. It's implied.
Okay.
I think-
I
I
actually took
definitely
issue
thought
with
about
your synopsis where it said that Sullivan eventually
Oh,
impregnates.
you're right. My bad.
It's definitely implied the other way.
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
it's definitely implied that they're sitting at the funeral and Sullivan's looking at the emotional response coming out of Madeline. Like, why does she care so much about this person? He talked to Costigan earlier and knew that Costigan was seeing some therapist,
Yeah.
and then he knows from the mail he received mail at his address that says Costigan on it, so he knows those two have met.
Yeah.
Or he puts that together, and then he's looking at her at the funeral crying. What is the next thing he says to her when the funeral's over? He says, "What about the baby?" So
Right.
I think the movie presents that he's at least suspicious of
No,
it.
I think
Okay.
you're 100% right, and I felt that as well. I would go so far as to say that that's almost explicit. So yeah, my synopsis was wrong. I'm sorry, guys.
Wrong. But then,
Oh.
what do you guys think of Jack Nicholson's character? I think he's probably the most cartoony to me, where I'm like, whoa, this is freaking insane.
Yeah,
This character. And like,
Why
I
is he
really
so-
enjoy it in this pulp drama,
Yeah.
like thriller.
Like they make a villain that you want to play,
Yeah.
a villain that you like. Kinda.
Yeah.
But I don't. What, you like him?
no,
I don't like
he's,
him at all.
He's glorified in that way. You know, it's like
See, I feel like in mafia movies, the mafia people are presented as like, okay, they're killers and they'll do bad things in order to get what they want, but they also care about something. And I don't really know what Frank cares about other than
well, yeah, he's.
Was it-
maintaining power.
yeah. And so he's like, the only thing you can have in life is if you take it. And I'm like, okay, so you're just like he's just like a horrible capitalist or something. Like
do
he's
I
like,
need more pussy and money? No, but I want it.
yeah, I don't know. I
Yeah.
appreciate when like there's a villain, and particularly in mafia movies, like, they care about family or something. He doesn't care about anything. He's like, in the past, in situations like this, I would just kill everyone. My own crew, I just killed them all.
Yeah.
I'd be
He
like,
doesn't even
what?
care about loyalty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I didn't love his character.
If he was acted by anyone other than Nicholson, it would have been brutal, man. Imagine it
totally.
was like that guy from Man of Steel, that Shannon guy. What's his name?
Michael Shannon.
Michael Shannon. If it was just like stereotypical angry B-list actor, they wouldn't work at all.
Don't say that about Michael Shannon. He deserves better.
I've only seen him in that. and
he's
Shape-
crazy.
Oh,
Shape
Michael
of
Shannon's a
Water.
great actor.
Yeah, he's crazy.
But,
he would
yeah,
do
Zod
it
wasn't-
different, but no one is Jack Nicholson. But I think part of why that character works and doesn't work is he originally said no to the role because it wasn't big enough, and so they did a rewrite to make him a bigger character. And he brought that he wants his character to be like sex crazed and have sex on screen because he's like, you never see mob bosses have sex on screen. And I'm like, I think you just are weird.
Did they cut that though?
I'm not sure.
Because there is the scene where
No, I
he
don't
like.
think
There's a scene where he's sitting at like an opera house with his wife and then another lady.
Is that his wife?
yeah.
Yeah, that one
thought-
chick. That one chick who's like
I
that.
thought
Like
it was just like his girlfriend or
that
something.
like 50-year-old nympho.
But he has a
Yeah.
wedding ring, doesn't he?
I'm pretty
Oh,
sure
does
that's
he?
his
Oh,
wife.
okay.
Yeah.
And so it shows the two of them sitting with some kind of like sexual energy beside him. Then it cuts to him like just throwing cocaine
Yeah.
at something.
Yeah.
And you can only assume it's like he's putting it all over the butt of his wife, while the second girl is like,
Like sniffing it off her butt?
supposed to go and
Oh.
take it.
Oh, I thought it was
That
just the
scene
bed.
was so goofy.
But it's just-
Yeah, but it could be.
But you never see what he throws on. It's
Yeah.
like they cut some shots. They're like,
Yeah.
this is too much. We got to get rid
You're
of
I
it.
just feel
That
like
would've been way better
that
if
in
his wife was
itself
there.
was like, I mean, it's largely unnecessary. It doesn't really tell us anything about him except that he does coke and
But, like,
has
we
sex
knew
with
that.
girls.
For me,
like,
that's like, yeah, it doesn't give us the information for the movie. It just kind of glorifies. It's like Wolf of Wall Street. A lot of the criticism of that movie is just like, it's a bro fest, like power porn kind of deal. And I see that again in this movie.
Yeah,
totally,
I don't think that there would
character.
be. I don't think there's anything wrong. Like, I feel like that's kind of stuff with the throwing the coke and sleeping with prostitutes and stuff. It's like, it's okay. That's totally fine as long as that is kind of consistent with some characteristics about the character that we care about. Like, I because there was nothing else there, I was just kind of like, all right, this is just kind of fluff, I guess. Like, he wanted to have a scene where he does this.
I think his ruthlessness comes across, and that's like probably his like prominent trait in the way that like he's constantly super violent. Like his goon breaks the cast off Leo's hand, and he beats the shit out of his broken hand.
Yeah, but that's like standard
or, like,
mafia stuff. I would expect that.
But it works well in this movie with his added charisma, and like when he's just like comes out of the back room covered in blood, and you're just like, the fuck did he do?
Yeah,
I like that stuff.
No, I like it too, but I don't know. Again, mafia people, I want there to be something there. There needs to be some meat.
The worst one is when he has the hand in the bag. I like that when it's in the bag, but he pulls it out and it looks so fake, and I was like, it takes away from the thread of the scene.
Maybe this is just Martin Scorsese being like, you know, Italian mafia people, they're deep and they have like layers, but Irish people, they're
well. Then he made like a 4-hour
garbage.
movie about Irish mobsters. So.
Oh yeah, no, that was about one Irish guy. Trying to get
There's
into
only one
Italian.
Irish mobster. That's good.
Yeah.
I
didn't finish that movie.
This movie feels very Scorsese in a good way. Like the original movie's only an hour and a half, and it has almost all the same beats as this one. And so like the fact that he was able to stretch it out from a script that was an hour and a half and it worked into 2.5, but it doesn't. Yeah, it works because his grandiose like gangster style just connects with this better than I would ever expect.
Yeah, go ahead.
I will say, I think there's a lot of set dressing stuff that we kind of, I guess, praised a little bit that I think is super unnecessary, like that racial tension montage at the beginning. How does that tie into the theme or the story or anything? Like, it just feels like, hey, it's the 70s, check it out. It's not like it's well thought out, because like his racism or his racial prejudice doesn't come into it. And the person that it's actually based off of, Bulger or whatever, he was a racist. Like, he burned down an elementary school that had abolished segregation and stuff. Like, he was a fucking racist.
Yeah.
But this character isn't. That's not part of the movie. And it just feels so weird and like,
almost, well, he kind of is. Like, he seems to be prejudiced against Italians, and just he talks about he's very racial.
Yeah, but it doesn't play into the themes of the movie. Like,
I would say that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem with that intro sequence as well. It's kind of sets up things that you think are going to be themes, but they're not really.
Yeah.
Like he says, there's a few quotes he says, like, I don't want to be a product of my environment. I want my environment to be a product of me. And it's like, okay, that's kind of like his character a little bit. And then he's like, years ago we had the church. That was only a funny way of saying we had each other. And then, okay, 20 years after an Irishman couldn't get a fucking job, we had the presidency. And then that's what the N-words don't realize, is that his point is that, you know, the Irish were discriminated against and like put down. And it doesn't matter how much the world puts you down. It's up to you to go out and take what you want. And that's his philosophy, I guess. But that doesn't really, it's not really a theme of the movie. It's just kind of like.
It is connected to his hubris. That ends up being his mortal trait, where he goes and attends the deal that he didn't even need to be there personally. And that's where he goes and dies.
That's fair.
I guess so. Did you take that away from that scene where it's like.
I just said it.
Yeah, I know. But when you were watching, you're like, his hubris.
Well, he tells them, like,
or were you kind of thinking about it afterwards?
Is it Costigan who tells him, like, you don't need to go, or Sullivan tells him, you don't need to go, don't go.
Yeah.
He tells him to lay low previous to that, and then he doesn't lay low, and then he dies.
Yeah, as you say that, I'm kind of like, all right, fair enough, I guess that you could take that away from his character, but in the moment, it didn't hit home.
Well, I feel like I have a hard time discerning what the central theme of this movie is. Yeah. Like, I had to look online, I'm like, what is the theme of this movie? And what was presented is ambition, cunning and cleverness, family, criminality, community. And I'm like, are those the themes?
But the thing is that, like, okay, you could say those are themes, but they're more kind of just like things that happen in the movie.
Yeah. Is there a moral? Is there a message?
Yeah. What is the movie saying about anything?
The movie toys with like the failures of law enforcement, and I think like that's a theme that I wish they had like dealt into a little bit heavier. And like the end kind of goes towards that, where like this is all stupid, like it's not ever going to work because there's always going to be moles, there's always going to be corruption, there's always going to be this. And I wish they went more into it.
Right.
And maybe I just want The Wire. Maybe I just want this movie to be The Wire, but like I don't know, like it just feels like that like I said, this movie just feels a little frivolous because I don't think there is a central question that it poses.
Just a fun ride.
Yeah, which is great.
You know what the maybe part of the issue is that it's Martin Scorsese, who usually has some sort of theme or usually has some sort of message in his movies. And, it's totally fine to have like a slice of life movie or just kind of like a roller coaster ride. And maybe that's all he was looking for to in this movie. And it is adapted from another movie. So maybe he's just kind of like, all right, I'm doing my best to just adapt this into the Western frame of mind, I guess.
He's like, he didn't write the adaptation.
Oh,
it was
sure.
I think, two different scriptwriters, and he actually didn't watch the movie because he's like, I don't want to be influenced by it.
He didn't watch
the original one before.
Oh, okay.
Infernal
It's crazy
Affairs.
that it's only 4 years difference.
Yeah, it's yeah.
That's what America does.
I like it's pretty split online as to which one's better, and I think it is a preference thing because they both have their strengths. Like the other one's a little more self-serious in the sense that like when Costigan's equivalent dies, it's like sad and like it's like a slow motion black and white shot, and he falls down, and there's like lines from earlier in the movie as he dies instead of it just like bang dead. And that wouldn't work in the Hong Kong original, but it works really well in this one. Like the shock and the surprise and like the futility of death.
Yeah. Maybe that's it.
So present in this, where it's just like everything is like it's gonna happen and like nothing has meaning.
That's a message.
I guess
You can try as much as you want to make order out of the world, but in the end, it's all chaos and everyone dies from a gunshot
I think
to the
if
head.
Costello said something like that in the movie, you could probably tie. Like if he had a big speech where he's talking to
Yeah.
Costigan and he's like, "This is like
There we
nothing is
go.
worth it. That's why we do this."
That's
Or
the
if
issue.
Mark Wahlberg's character had some little one-liner. I was like, "No, Costigan, you don't get it. It's all about this."
Yeah,
and you're like,
yeah.
okay.
Oh, okay.
And then he comes back and
Yeah.
and is the victor of the movie,
Yeah.
and you're like, I guess he's
Well,
right.
Okay, well, I guess I should say then, because I wrote this quote down because I thought it was interesting, but I didn't really know where to place it. But now I guess that we're talking about it, Frank early on, it's the scene where we see a few scenes with Frank in the dark, and he's kind of
Yeah,
like in
that's the
shadow.
beginning. Yeah.
And then as he's sort of recruiting Colin Sullivan, he like leans forward and his face goes into the light, and the line that he says there is, at the end of the day, cop or criminal, when you're facing a loaded gun, what's the difference? So
Yeah.
I guess that's sort of
That
along
is
the lines
definitely
of what
one
we're
of the
talking
big
about.
themes.
Yeah.
And then what's interesting is during that the light and the focus is on Sullivan, because you're not trying to set up this Kingpin as the protagonist. He's not the main character. He's a prominent character. But then Sullivan eventually graduates from like he's using Costello as a stepping stone. Like he's got this great opportunity and he is ambitious and he moves up the ladder. But then eventually he's the one who kills Costello, and he kind of had to do that because he's in that situation. So I guess he could have arrested him or something like that. But he takes the opportunity to shoot him, which is just going to catapult him even farther.
Yeah.
Well, and he's always looking at that state house, right?
To be fair, Frank shoots first, which is
That's
a great
true.
scene. I love it because Frank is shot. Like Frank's dying.
Yeah.
And they're talking to each other, and he's like, "You were an informant." He's like, "Of course I'm an informant." Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
He's like, "You were like and he's like, "What? Like a son?" And they're like having a back and forth, and then Frank just like at some point he just kind of shoots. He tries to shoot Colin, and then he fires back at him, and then he falls back into the what do you call what's that, the bulldozer thing?
Yeah.
And then, and he's like, "Is he dead?" And he's like, Colin's kind of like coming up on him, and then he's like dying in there, and he's like, "Oh!" And it takes another shot. He's like, "Ah!"
I think with like the
Like
slightest,
he's dead. He's
yeah.
already dead, and he's still trying
Yeah.
to like just get off a last shot. Like
I think with the smallest retooling, this movie could be a straight comedy. Like it's fucking funny
It's
when it
so
wants
funny.
to be. Yeah, when Leo's character knocks the tooth out of that bookie because he thinks that he's reaching for a gun.
Yeah.
That whole scene is so. What did you do? Like,
Yeah, it could have been a Guy Ritchie movie.
Yeah, totally.
That's Jimmy Beggs.
Yeah.
what are you doing?
It kills me. I like that scene. I like the dialogue they had, but I feel like this entire movie is a little bit of a missed opportunity to do like visual storytelling. Like, what is the significance of having this final showdown at a construction site? Like, that's not really. It's not like this movie's about like building an empire or like starting from the ground up or controlling the construction workers. Like, yes, it's Boston. You're either a cop, a criminal, or a construction worker. But like, it's not really tightly integrated into the movie or the ideas of the movie. And I think that it's not a huge deal. It doesn't matter. It's just a fun criminal romp. But I feel like there's a lot of stuff in the movie where I'm like, if they just like thought about it a little bit harder, it could have been so much tighter and so much harder hitting.
Or even just kind of like tried to integrate some aspect of like the Irish Boston culture type of thing. Like we have all these people, telling each other to go fuck themselves and asking about their mothers and stuff.
Yeah.
And I thought that was hilarious.
It's very funny.
Like I think that as set dressing for a mob movie is so funny, and it's great. It's fun. But like, other than that, it's not really different than another just like generic criminal movie, you know?
It's tighter, better shot. Like it's all the things that are important.
If there was some reason to place it in Boston with an Irish mob, which is not often portrayed,
Totally.
in it's in America, anyways, I would have appreciated that. But it was just kind of like, let's make them Irish because we've done Italians a lot, so let's do Irish this time.
Yeah. And not even any church scenes, you know? What's up with that?
There's that priest scene.
Yeah, they talk about
that
the priest.
That was interesting.
Yeah,
I like when the priest stands up to him. He's like, well, what does he say? He's like, pride comes before the fall.
Oh,
or whatever,
yeah.
hubris or whatever. I just love
It's like,
standing up to him. But he's such a wiener.
He's calling you out for diddling kids right now.
Yeah,
like,
just shut the fuck up and just.
Well, pride comes before the fall.
Hey, but that hits my hubris point. Pride comes before the fall. Boom.
Shit.
Pride, his fatal flaw.
That's fair. That's fair.
The hints were there, just like for Agatha and WandaVision.
Yeah, let's talk about some editing. I like the editing in this movie.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like really fast, like compressed things. Like someone's reaching for a duffel bag to like stuff into it, and it just cuts out like 1 second.
Yep.
So then now they're turning back. They've already filled their bag, but it just makes this more frantic, fast-paced things. Like I'm packing very fast.
Yeah, I like the editing as well. We've already kind of talked about the sequences where it's rapidly switching between Costigan and Sullivan. I think that it's really cool to contrast the two experiences of them. And I think there are other points but like I gotta say though, I like the editing, but there are some points where it goes so fast. I'm like, whoa, how much time are we skipping here? It's like, it seems like there's one scene and then another scene, and they don't really tell you that it's like a week later, but it is.
I found the first part, I think it's great for storytelling, but I found it a little bit disorienting when they're jumping kind of like months or years ahead right at the beginning as they're introducing the characters. But one character's jumping ahead years and the other one's only jumping ahead weeks. And it's like not moving at the same time.
I thought this only takes place over the course
Sullivan
of
when they're graduating from cop school and everything.
But they're not quite moving at the same pace.
Oh, I see.
But it doesn't matter. It's what's important is the feeling and like the idea that how they're moving forward. And I think that it's more of a nitpick than a real
Did you guys
problem.
notice this thing where this happened at least twice, where there's a really intense graphic scene and the background music gets turned up during the most intense part?
That's just a Scorsese thing.
He does that
He
a lot?
does that all the time.
So it's like when Costigan's like hand was getting broken, I think they like just turn. There's this cool song in the background. They just turn that up. I wonder what the point is of that. It dulls the violence. It makes you not hate the characters as much for doing such like graphic and horrific
your adrenaline
things.
up even more than it would have.
But maybe not though, because if the music stayed down, then the violence would be at the forefront, right? This kind of washes out the violence.
It does, but I think it kind of washes it out in sort of like a general arousal. Not a sexual arousal, but just like your entire awareness is just kind of like heightened. You're like, things are happening.
I also think it's tied
anxiety.
When like those songs that are often very well-known songs. And so like it now connects that graphic violence to a thing that's already part of your brain. And it makes it easier for your brain to like, now I'm remembering this.
Right, like they're trying to control how you feel.
Yeah.
Like we're giving this really graphic scene. It's really intense, but I don't want you to like hate this character. So instead I'm going to play like this Bob Dylan song that you love. And so it won't be so bad.
I had 2 nitpicks about the music. Why play Gimme Shelter twice? First off, you shouldn't play it in your 70s movie because it's overdone. And the version of Comfortably Numb they use, I found very distracting.
Oh, I hated that.
Yeah, it's like a live version from the 90s that had like the band and Van Morrison and stuff. And it's good when you watch it live, but it's like not as good as the original.
Agreed, 100%.
It was just distracting.
I said it out loud to my wife. I'm like, why are they using this stupid version? Like, I didn't like it.
Yeah, I was like, what the
Maybe it's my bias, because you know when you have like muscle memory for a particular version of a song, you're like, they're supposed to sing this note now, and it's supposed to sound this way.
When I watched the live video after, I was like, oh, this is really good, but it just doesn't work in the movie.
That is how comprehensive David's research is, everybody.
My least favorite part of this movie, and I think the most cartoony, is when Sullivan leaves the porn theater and Costigan gives him chase. That whole sequence felt like straight up like a 40s cop drama parody. Like it felt so silly. Like when he looks in the mirror chimes and like it's like there he is, or like they're like stepping through the puddle and it's like and like the forced slow-mo, all of it.
Yeah, they had that low frame rate thing again.
And I was like, this movie hasn't been cheesy in this way, and I was like, this just feels so out of place.
And he stabs that guy, the guy's like, oh!
Oh my God.
Actually, I remember on the original watch, I thought that was very tense.
Yeah,
very tense.
that's fair.
I felt nothing this time.
Yeah.
But I don't think I hated that on the original watch. I
like the leading up to it. I like the meeting in the porn theater, and like when Costigan is like watching Sullivan from behind, and you just like want him to turn around. You're like, please just turn around so we can see who it is, but he doesn't. Like that, all that energy is pretty good. And when
all that context, all the buildup, like now they're so close to each other.
Yeah.
They're finally coming into contact.
Totally.
It just adds so much to that chase.
Yeah,
and
it feels good.
The Costello dildo joke. Apparently that was off the cuff.
No.
That was improv.
That's
Did he ever
amazing.
show that it was a dildo? He never like holds it up and it's like,
No,
it's a
no.
dildo.
But it's like,
I think it's a black dick.
yeah. But it's like, it's implied.
Yeah.
I hope.
I took that as a dildo.
Frank Costello could have a black dick. That's fine.
Talking about editing, I really like the choice that when we first see DiCaprio in the therapist's office, there's zero buildup. There's zero context. It's like we just know she's a therapist. We met her already. And then suddenly it's DiCaprio sitting there and they're just like,
Yeah.
I guess they're having a session. And from what I know, that makes sense. They wasted no time on that.
Yeah.
Wait, but you like that?
Yeah, it was great.
I was so as you say, I was disoriented. I was like, wait, what are we doing here? Why is he seeing her? And then I was like, is this a flashback? Like, were they supposed to see psychologists while they were still in the academy? And then I was like, oh, okay, so this is after. So he's required to see her for parole or something. Yeah, and then all the questions come up about like why, like it seems a bit contrived that he would see.
I would think that there's another scene that they cut in editing, like where there was some kind of context. What do you mean? I got to go see a shrink?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
then they
want
do,
the-
but they
I
just
want
like
the-
the runtime was too long.
I want the 4-hour Irishman cut
No.
No, thank you.
so that I
No,
can get
thank
bored
you.
halfway and.
Dude, that's probably the literal difference between like this movie probably could have been 4. I bet there's 4 hours of footage.
Yeah.
Oh man, so much happens. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But this is before Netflix.
Yep.
It was a real thing.
I'm glad. Editing is important, everybody.
Yeah. What'd you
There's
get-
a few shots in this movie that I found bad.
Okay.
Like, I think it's when Dignam is with Alex Baldwin's character and they're like talking to the state police people and they're like kind of briefing them. There's like a Michael Bay shot of Dignam where it like does like a like 180 degrees around
Yeah.
him and like full dolly. And I was like, this is so weird. He's being like, well, the next thing that we're going to do is this. And it's like,
yeah, there's some weird choices.
I think
like
they did that twice.
Yeah.
Like, there's a couple parts of the movie, and I remember them sticking out to me like it's been really just like shot, reverse shot, really
Yeah.
mechanical, and then they do this like it's almost like a big breather.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's something has changed.
In that same scene, they also dolly into Sullivan as he asks. They're talking about like people who died or whatever, and Sullivan's like, "What was his name?" The Departed, and the camera's like, "Woo, The Departed." Yeah, I was like, title sequence.
Got it.
Yeah.
Name drop.
I want to talk
Yeah,
about
name
that
drop.
title because I think it sucks. It's like
Yeah.
not an interesting title. It's like it's an easy to say title, but it's not really that tightly integrated to the movie. Like when they talk about The Departed, it's the guy who stole the chips and then got killed by Frank Costello. Like cool,
Yeah.
super cool.
But they all die.
yeah, but like
yeah, but I
that's
think I agree.
bare, like that's just like right at the end.
To me,
and, like,
it sounds really like Catholic. They all die. It hits for me.
Yeah, but like Catholicism isn't even a theme. Like I don't know. I that's kind of what I was alluding to in my slogan, where I was like, oh, you could have called it something about rats or like
Yeah.
something about lying or like I don't know.
yeah, the Rat King of Boston. I want
Yeah.
to talk about the ending because I think there's two parts to the ending, and one part is very interesting, but I don't enjoy it, and the other one is I enjoy it a lot, but I don't think it's interesting.
Okay.
When Leo's character is up on the roof and he confronts Sullivan and they have their showdown, and then the dude from is the dude from SNL?
No,
What's he from?
Anthony Anderson?
Anthony Anderson. What's he from?
he was
Oh,
in a
he's in-
ton of stuff after this movie.
That-
Okay, but a lot of comedies like
Yeah, he was in that Jim Carrey one where he has like 3 sons. Me, myself, and Irene.
Yeah,
he was
yeah.
in the cop movie with Jake Gyllenhaal
Yeah,
in
yeah.
New
Was he in
Orleans.
Transformers? Was he like a hacker friend in
Oh,
Transformers?
yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
Man, he's
Recently,
amazing. I
been in
loved him.
Blackish, the TV show.
Yeah, and I think he
Yeah.
serves this purpose well. But when he dies or Leo dies, then he dies. Like I like all the twists and revealing that there's more moles, but I also feel like it's such a quick deflation of intense tension that isn't a great payoff emotionally to everything we've felt. And I think like it's a really cool moment intellectually where it's like, whoa, I can't believe they just fucking killed all these people. But like emotionally, I was just like,
Yeah, I suppose you're right.
yeah.
Like intellectually, it is interesting because it's like, oh, his friend's here to save him. Sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, then he killed his friend. Like, because the whole time, like I said in my synopsis or my slogan thing, there's all these like social game theory moments where like in real time, is it a good idea for me to send a text right now, or is that going to give me away? Is it a good idea for me to stay after I write and submit into the citizen's envelope? Should I stay here or should I leave?
Yeah.
And you're trying to do that in your own mind, right? but you're a smooth brain ape, and so you're like, I don't know, what would I do? I don't know, and then we're on to the next scene already.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool when they're all dying. It's like he shoots his own friend. You're like, really? Okay, well, what are your goals? But I'll agree with you that it's more cerebral than emotional.
Totally. And I think the opposite is true with the Mark Wahlberg killing, where it's not really that interesting that he comes back and kills him. Like, it's like, oh, yeah, he protects his undercover agent, sure.
See, but
like, emotionally, you're like, oh, yeah, fuck that guy.
No, I think I think it's a little stimulating mentally as well, because you're like, I still don't even know. Is he just doing it for his own like vengeance, or did he come back from his suspension and have enough evidence because of the letter that Costigan wrote to Madeline, who Madeline would have opened it after the funeral and then submitted that to the one guy, Digman. So it's all just based on evidence, and Digman's back from suspension. He's just doing police work. But then if it's
can't kill him. You can't
if it's not police work, he's not just going to wait in his apartment and kill him.
Yeah, no. I think it is a personal thing where he knows that he's a rat, but he knows that he can't bring him in.
Like the politics won't permit it?
Yeah, maybe. Or like at least the punishment isn't enough. But I think we kind of talked about it before. I don't think that death is the ultimate punishment, at least not in this case. And like,
you mean in the realm of this movie, or you're like,
in the realm of this movie? I don't think death is the ultimate punishment, and I think like in real life, it's over for you, and it's like it's done. But I think like, I mean, I like that the movie's kind of open enough that like you don't know if he's like outed posthumously as a rat, and you don't know if that happens. But
I think it doesn't really matter because he's dead.
But that's like not that interesting of an idea, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point.
It's just enough to see Mark Wahlberg with the shoe covering things on. I'm like, great. Oh my god, this guy is just such a cold, practiced killer.
It was cool to see that.
Walks out of there.
John O'Tan sent in a question. Actually, he was like, "Here's a discussion question: Was Marky Mark a bad guy too, or a cop who took justice into his own hands? Like, are we supposed to think that Dignam is like he's a vigilante?"
Well, actually, at this point in the movie, Sullivan could have been killed by anybody.
Right.
Because he's betrayed both sides.
Yeah.
So really, either could exist.
Well, but I think arguably there's no one else on Frank's side to kill him because they all died, basically.
I think Dignam is the best person to do it because it's like he's like they've had their personal confrontations, but he's also like representative of the undercover, so he's kind of there on behalf of Costigan.
Yeah.
Which is emotionally satisfying as fuck.
Well, on behalf of, but that's why I was saying I kind of had a problem with it earlier, because it's like he's not really there on behalf of Costigan because he treated Costigan like shit.
No, but they are in the same like brotherhood because he said he's been undercover a lot in his life.
They're on the surface level on the same side. I think that it never really felt like they were.
I think that his choices were a little bit confused, but I think he was trying to go for like on the surface, like I hate you and I want to fucking kill you, I want to fuck your mother. But like really, like we're brothers because we're like undercover.
But there's no, that's never there.
That's never there. But I think what is there, maybe what David's saying is like there's like you don't have to like me. We have a job to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're on the same side.
It's like
I guess
courtesy,
I see that
guess.
where Dignam is just like, we don't have time for your emotions. Like just do it. Yeah. And I like that's fair enough, I guess. And clearly he doesn't exhibit enough anxiety to worry that much about like going and killing Sylvan in his apartment.
And it's a Scorsese movie, so every conversation has to be like borderline a fight, right? Like, who set up the fucking cameras? Are you? I'm the guy who does his job. You must be the other guy.
Man, I love that though. When he's like, can I talk to you for a second? Gets up.
You
It's a great scene.
This movie apparently is the one. It's got the record for the most times a Best Picture features the F word.
Nice.
And I think this podcast is probably going to be the most F word podcast out of ours.
Nice. We should have a counter. I'm not going to put the counter. I'm the editor. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, please don't. That scene where they're like talking about like they're supervising they're surveilling the Chinese deal. And he's talking about the cameras and stuff. I'm like, man, that's like the most hostile work environment I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
interagency.
That
like
is,
your boss is literally punching you in the face and stuff.
That's the most comedy scene though, when they're like, the FBI's over here, and they're like, huh? And then like the reveal of the Chinese gang is so funny to me. I don't know why. Like they're like walking through the pillars, and it's this dolly shot, and like it could be tension building, but to me, there's like one dude, and then they all like kind of like step out from the darkness, and like, and it's like the most flair for the dramatic a gang has ever had.
Yeah,
and I thought it was so silly.
It's the Irish gang and the Chinese gang.
Yeah, just the way they step into visibility.
It's kind of cartoony.
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Oh, I can't believe you brought automatic weapons," and it reveals like the people in the back with the shotguns trained on the Chinese gang. Yeah,
it's a life sentence.
What was I going to say about that?
If it takes 18 minutes to get to your title card, don't even bother.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was like
Don't bother with
lame.
the title
Yeah,
card?
just don't. Especially when the
movies-
title sucks.
Do movies not have title cards sometimes?
Yeah.
Indie movies.
No, regular movies.
Many
just, Yeah, many
They're less
don't.
common now than they used to be.
Star Wars has one.
Okay.
That's the iconic title card.
Do you think it would have been better if they did it right at the end, like after Wahlberg shoots him?
Yeah, that could be kind of cool. That'd be badass. Instead of the rat, that's just the Departed comes up.
Hey, maybe the theme.
Maybe both. The rat comes out and you just hear like Godfather kind of music, like a really high pitch, like exactly. And then the Departed just scrolls up.
Just the old. Well, you could do like the old timey movie thing where like it pans up to the whatever office building that is that's important, and like
State House.
It stays there, and then the text just scrolls up. Like that could be a great end frame. Like you could have like a little pool of blood, the croissants, and the building.
Croissant.
I think that could be a cool last frame instead of the rat.
How did you feel when they called the croissant a French donut?
I thought that was funny.
That was very Boston.
Yeah,
Very Boston.
French.
How did you
donut.
feel when the therapist is talking or she's talking to Matt Damon about his performance in bed while she's like eating a banana?
I didn't catch that.
Oh,
That's
really?
so
That
funny.
scene was totally like.
She's like, it happens to everybody. It's very common.
And she's just like taking big bites of this, like breaking this dick in half and eating it.
Man,
Emasculating him.
did you guys? Oh, go ahead.
No, do you guys notice the bad lip sync like multiple times in this movie?
Oh, I thought that was my own setup,
For
honestly.
ER?
No, there's a few
For-
moments where like it's just they use different takes and like the what's happening, the audio is not matching the take they took because it's like over the shoulder and their mouth's not moving. But there's one, it's like a full profile shot of Matt Damon for about a second. His mouth is moving totally off what the dialogue is. I was like, what a weird editing choice. I guess like they just didn't get the right takes for it or whatever.
I did
but-
notice at least maybe 3 or 4 different cuts where it goes over someone's shoulder and you can tell, like it does the reverse and you can tell it's a whole different take because the person was like stretching with their arms in the air and now like their arms across it.
Yeah. Apparently, it was a really hard movie to shoot. Like Martin Scorsese would never want to revisit this movie. People are like, "Oh, there should be a sequel," which is fucking stupid. How can you do a sequel? The only character that's left is Dignam. Like,
Dignam has to go undercover.
Costigan's son, born. Yeah, this is 20 years later.
it's like
Yeah, geez Louise.
Blade Runner-esque. Like
Yeah, actually,
cyberpunk.
that's probably you could totally.
now
do
we're
that.
now we're talking.
Because Costigan is a son, so we catch
Yeah.
up with him when he's of age, and Dignam is his tutor. Or
Oh, you
his
know what it
mentor.
is? It's one character who's undercover for both sides simultaneously. Because one side says, "I knew your father, Billy Costigan," and the other side goes, "I knew your father, Sullivan."
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
I knew your father.
Dude, okay.
He was a motherfucker.
He fucked my mother, in fact. The interaction, this is like a cutesy scene, but that elevator scene where he keeps holding the door open and flirting with her,
Yeah. I like
I
that
thought that
scene.
was really good
I
writing.
agree.
Yeah, it was good. I think
That was believable as to why she would go on a date with him.
Yeah.
Because it was like just the right amount of cheekiness, but charming. I
Matt
was like, I
Damon's,
bought that.
Matt Damon's character was so well written. Like I feel like everything that he said, he just had charisma flowing out his butt. He was
Until
just like
he
so.
doesn't.
What?
Until he's not supposed to.
Sure,
he
but
was
I just
really
think
smart, too.
all
He
of his
played
scenes-
everybody.
Yeah, all of his scenes with, like he says, like I'm a really good liar later in the movie, and you're like, oh, I know that's true because I've seen you interact with Madeline so many times where she kind of gets close to, like he says
Yeah, the
something that
phone
maybe
call
could be
or- yeah.
interpreted the right way, which is that it's sketchy, but he just like makes it into a joke or something, and he's like. Oh, I only arrested. What would you do if there were no more criminals left? And he's like, well, I'd have to arrest innocent people. And she's like, wait, what? And he's like, yeah, you better watch out or whatever. He's like, it's a joke.
What do you guys think about that? Because to me, it feels a little unreal that he would invite her into his house if he's a dirty cop and he gets phone calls on his landline. Like,
That's
it just
why I
seems like
think-
a dangerous line to toe. And I get it. Like, okay, there's a justification where it's like, oh, he wants to live a normal life. He wants to have the wife, the kids, all these
Yeah.
stuff. But I was like, if you're playing this smart, you got to keep your place to yourself, man. Like, you just don't know when you're going to have some evidence around. You don't know, like...
I think that he's so on top of things the rest of the time. Like we don't really see him make a big mistake. So like having this one weakness is like, you know, the chink in his armor where it's like, oh, that's his weakness. He wants to, you know, he wants to actually be a cop. Maybe he wants to get out of the game and he wants to have that life. So I don't know. I like.
I kind of wish that they went a little bit more into that in the end, because I think there's a reading of it where you bring that in and you're like, oh yeah, I see that he wants to just like leave this all behind him. Like he gets to make a clean break. Like Costigan's dead. He can pretend that he was a good cop the whole time.
Right,
like
right.
he gets to live that life. But I don't think they needed to like lean into it like 5% more, I guess, to make that point. Like I feel like that point wasn't quite made.
I don't know. I feel like every time we're in the apartment, it feels like that
Yeah,
because
okay.
Because the state house is in the background.
The
That's
state house
why.
in the background.
That's fair.
When he's buying it, and he's talking to the realtor. Like the realtor's like, are you married? And he's like, no. And he's like, so you're gonna have guests then? Okay, cool. And he's like, just give me the papers. Like he's like upset. He knows that he's buying something above his station. It's like he wants to get there. And then like later a scene with talking about him having ED or whatever. And then it's almost every time we're in the apartment, there's a problem. So I feel like the apartment kind of serves as sort of this like problematic aspect of his personality.
That's fair. Yeah, he's
represented,
overreaching. Yeah.
That real scene, there's a gay reading of that scene.
Which one? Yeah. Yeah, that's what I thought too. I'm like, I think.
So are you single?
I think like looking at it from Sullivan's perspective, he's like thinking if the realtor's gay or something, but then he's like, oh, so you're gonna have guests? Like, I don't know.
It's unimportant.
They wouldn't have a gay subplot in a movie where they call people homos and F words this many times.
Queers.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, chill.
hard F.
There's N words with the hard R. There's the British
word.
term for a cigarette.
Yeah.
There's queers. I don't know. I mean,
It's got it all.
it's got it all.
It also had a.
The
You remember the
golden
trailer?
age.
Do you guys remember the trailer? Oh, like the John Cliff
Oh,
Murphy
yeah.
song. I lost my leg. That was a sick trailer. I remember when it came out, I was hyped.
It's cool when they use that music in the movie. It is pretty
It
hype.
does not as to good effect in the movie.
You don't think?
The sweet thing about that song is the build-up. It does like so many bars of that little Irish sounding theme before it like really kicks
Right.
in. And in the movie, they just do like one bar and then it's like a full
they drop
force.
in kind of the middle of the big stuff. And again, I feel like it's just kind of set dressing. Like it's like reminder: these people are Irish, not Italian. Don't get confused.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's all my notes, folks.
I'm pretty much there. I had a couple nitpicks.
I was waiting for the nitpick.
I have. This is it's like a nitpick, but it goes beyond being a nitpick.
Okay.
Why the fuck is there a delete profile button on their fucking profiles? That's
Yes.
so fucking stupid.
Yes.
Like-
you wouldn't want to completely delete a
An entire-
record. You would just say no longer stay.
Yeah, yeah,
They
like-
shouldn't even have the option
No,
to delete it.
especially not from like a user level, like maybe on a server level, like with special access.
It would be buried as fuck, but then it's a movie. It has to be.
Yeah.
It has to be on the front
It's just
page, right?
one of
there.
those things that my suspension of disbelief is like, nope, that's too far,
there's
my
no
guy.
way.
But then again, any software used by government is the worst. So
That's the theme of the movie.
maybe
That's the takeaway. Man, okay, the part where Queenan gets thrown out of the building and then they're like, something fell off the roof. They're like, wait, how can you see that something fell off the roof, but you can't see that it's a body?
And can't they also see Costigan standing?
Yeah,
I think
over
he's
it?
just
They're
around
like, oh,
the
there's
building
something. There's
corner.
something on the ground. I can't.
it's
Something
a
fell
weird-
off the roof. It's like it's a body.
It's a weird
There was an
scene.
explosion of blood. You can see the other gangsters who come up, and then they see them enough to have a shootout with them.
Yeah.
So I'm like, how can you not? That was so. I was
whole
like, this
scene-
is so dumb. What
They
the
should
heck?
have shown from their perspective because
Yeah.
the reason they didn't
Yeah.
is because it doesn't exist. There's
you're
no way
right.
to not see
Yeah.
Costigan.
You're right.
They like got the script and then they started shooting it and they're like, oh no, there's no way. To...
Yeah.
Let's just do it. Let's just
I like
shoot
the
it.
death of Martin Sheen's character though. I like the slow mo going by the window, and like this is a movie that one of the Easter eggs. Anytime there's a death, there's like an X in the frame, a hidden X, and which is a nod to the original Scarface that Martin Scorsese put in this movie.
Cool.
It's cool, I guess.
Yeah. I don't-
Easter eggs are always
I
cool.
never
Yeah,
know.
it's
Yeah,
one of those
that's
Easter eggs.
cool,
I'm
I
like,
guess.
if we don't mention it, someone's gonna mention it in the comments. So I
Yeah.
took away your
You didn't
fun.
even talk about the X.
Now they'll still mention it. They just won't listen to the whole episode. Here's a hit pick. At graduation day, Matt Damon's character has no one to shake hands with or talk to. Everyone's celebrating when they're like, "Yeah, you're all cops now," and they're throwing their hats in the air and hugging. He just stands
there.
there alone.
Yeah, that's cool.
But then he has to like leave to go see Costigan or
Costello?
Costello,
In the
which is
car?
kind of funny because the
What does he
guy
give him in the car?
he gives him a watch, I think. Which is funny because the guy that invites Sullivan to go out for a beer, they're like, "Oh, we're getting a beer. You want to come?" He's like, "Oh no, I gotta go." That the guy who invites him is the other mole.
Oh,
Which is
damn.
like, well, he's not. He's apparently not as important. But although I thought that was kind of a cool, interesting thing because every time Colin picks up the phone and talks to Frank, he calls him Dad. And at first, I was kind of like, "Oh, is he like his surrogate dad? Is that
think
why they're
that's the
saying that?"
idea
And
of
then,
it.
and then as things went on, I'm like, "Oh, I think it's mostly just so he can say he's talking to his dad. If people are like, what? Who are you calling?"
Yeah.
I think
I think
it
it's
is
both.
I think it's
Yeah.
within the movies universe, it's that if people overhear it, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But I think to the audience, it's like, oh, that's his dad.
Yeah, which
Like,
is
lol.
super weird because Frank killed his real dad.
Yeah.
So now he's like, "I killed your dad, and now you're my son." Ha ha ha.
That's how it works. They're Sith dads.
Sith death.
Well, I can't imagine a nitpickier nitpick than what I'm about to say.
Uh-oh.
But when Madeline puts the headphones on, she puts them on backwards. It's the,
What, the cord is on the right side?
I'm sure it was just like they got to shooting and they're like, oh crap, we don't want the cord in front of her face, so we'll rotate them. But she has the right ear over the left ear and the left ear over the right ear.
Sounds realistic to me.
Yeah, well, that's I said that, and my girlfriend's like, well, she just put them on a rush, and I'm like, that's not what happened. It's just they got to shooting and.
Yeah, but you can believe it though.
I doubt that they really
People
care.
put on headphones all the wrong way all the time.
Were they symmetrical?
They were like Sennheiser 416s, I think.
416s?
I don't
Ah,
know.
she's a piece of
I'm
shit.
not sure
Come on,
what
it's
it
so
was.
obvious.
Filmmakers are garbage.
Oh no, that's the mic. I don't know what they are. I don't know headphones.
I have more. Oh, okay. Here's sort of like a hit pick / I guess it's a hit pick. It's more just about the Boston people being hilarious. Like when they're doing when they're surveilling the Chinese deal, Alec Baldwin's like, he's the chief of police or whatever. Is he? No. Is he the chief? He's somebody.
Who cares?
Anyways, Alec Baldwin's character is like, I'm going to go for a smoke. You want to go for a smoke? Oh, you don't smoke. What are you, one of those fitness freaks? Go fuck yourself.
I know. Every time he spoke was amazing like that.
He's like, he doesn't even give him a chance to respond. He's just like, what are you? What's wrong with you?
Idiot.
And I love how like Bostoners just can't stop telling each other to fuck themselves, even in the middle of this like super delicate operation.
This is really making me want to do The Fighter. Have you seen The Fighter?
Is that the boxing movie?
Yeah.
With Christian
Bale, Best Supporting Actor.
No, I haven't seen it. No.
I think Amy Adams. It's actually great.
Oh,
It's great. There's a lot of good Boston shit in there.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
another nitpick. The scene where Queen and Dignam and Costello are at the fair and like they confront him. There's a back and forth, the shots are going back and forth. And then on the last shot that shows Queen and Dignam, there's a fourth guy. There's another cop in the shot. And I was like, whoa, what? Is there another character here that like they cut out, I guess? It was just so weird, but like it got left in.
I didn't know.
It's like this guy's he's standing right next to Dignam, but like they never showed him prior to that.
There must have been another take where he like wanders in the frame.
Yeah, or something. He's like, and I have something to say too.
Or he's just in the background like providing support.
Or they shot two versions of the scene. Anyways, I mean, that was really dumb. When Billy finds out Frank is an FBI informant by interrogating that guy, and he kneecaps him while French is like outside distracting people with the firecrackers. Why were they there? What was he doing there?
I think they were there to get something. I don't know. You're right.
Because it seems like the only reason they were there was so Billy could get this. What other information did he get from him other than the fact that Frank is an FBI informant?
Maybe it's a cut thing. That's like there was a little bit more, and then that slipped out.
I was confused because it seemed like that would be something that Billy would do on his own, but then French was there too. So I was like, what? French is Ray Winstone's character.
It's probably a cut thing where there's like an earlier part of that conversation, but then Shoemaker was just like, this is unnecessary.
Schumacher.
Schumacher?
Who?
What?
That's the editor.
Oh,
okay.
I thought you were talking about like
That's
another director.
No, that's like that's his editor for every movie.
Oh, okay.
Man, I wish that they just
Shoemaker. Sorry.
You guys know Ray Winstone? Like French is Ray Winstone.
What else is he in?
He's in a ton of stuff. He's a well-known British actor, and he's got a brilliant, like, deep voice like this. He's like very gravelly, and he's doing a Boston accent in this movie, and it's not good.
Doesn't work.
I was like so sad because they had the Scottish guy, also who I love. What's his name?
Where's your boy?
Yeah. Wait, what's his name?
The guy who won't be home for supper.
Oh, it's from Harry Potter. I was like, where do I know that guy? Yeah, he's one of the people Harry Potter takes a polyjuice potion of in the 7th or 6th movie.
We can always rely on you for the Harry Potter. And
Yeah.
David O'Hara. He's in Harry Potter. He plays Harry when they use the polyjuice potion or whatever. I loved him in this movie.
Yeah.
Why?
He's funny.
When Frank is like reaming him out for dumping the body wrong or something, so the police found it right away. He's just like, "You dump it in the swamp" or whatever, and he's like kind of laughing as he's like, "Whoa," he's like, "Oh, he's upset."
he's like, I'm embarrassed.
I tried to bury it for 4 hours in the swamp. They found it right away. Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
I love.
I like when they were messing around talking about like who's you're not a cop because you're not paying attention to us. Yeah,
That's
that
funny.
was hilarious.
Yeah, if they're not paying attention to me. Lots of what do you say? Most beautiful women are cops.
Yeah. Evening, ma'am. And they keeps walking. Cop. She's a cop. What's wrong with people? Why do they keep getting pregnant?
Use the condom.
Oh, actually, that was a nitpick. My wife was like, "Pfft," because by the time your ultrasound tech can know, or the time that your ultrasound photograph can
it was a bit
show
early. Yeah.
that your fetus has a penis, she would have been like 3 months pregnant. She
Oh.
would have been way, way, way more pregnant.
Yep.
Yeah.
Huh.
I'm like, man, why can't people wear condoms? And also,
Because they're Catholic.
you can't wear a condom. I'm Catholic.
That's true.
While I'm sleeping with a million
Constantine
people.
just showed up covered in the rain. They didn't have condoms. there.
Yeah, I'm unprepared.
Well, it's
I've already
2006.
moved my
Did condoms
condoms.
even exist?
What are you talking about?
It's a
2006.
joke, dog.
I think they were made of sheep intestines.
Yeah.
back then.
Right.
Yeah.
She already moved them to the other apartment anyways, so she
First
didn't have
condom
them
was
there.
someone just using haggis.
Why did Sullivan have to go into the other room? I mean, like when he's like, oh, my computer's being bluey or whatever, and he's like, okay, we understand that he's going to do something that he doesn't want him to see, but like it appears that he does it just normally. Like it seems like a weird
He
contrivance.
just goes to another room because he's not expecting Costigan to follow him.
Yeah, but why doesn't he just do it on that computer? Why did he want to do it on the other one?
Maybe the other one has more permissions or something.
No. I think it's just that he's worried that Costigan will see him what he's doing.
But what was he doing?
He was getting in his money.
Do you think it was
He only
like,
deleted the account after he came back and he saw that the envelope had moved, and he was like, oh, he knows who I am, so now I'm going to delete his.
I figured there was something shady that he was doing, but you're right.
Yeah, I figured as well, but they don't tell
you
you.
what it is.
Yeah.
Doing a deeper dive into
Yeah.
him.
Also, would he really keep that thing on his desk for months? Like that envelope that would tie him to Frank Costello.
Yeah,
on his
because like
desk?
I'm assuming that all happened quite some time ago.
Yeah. I was
That's
like,
super
that
careful.
wouldn't
And why
be
would he
there
make a phone
anymore.
call right after like no phones? He's like, oh, I'm gonna call my dad right now. Hey, Dad, I'm just standing with a bunch of agents. I just got a bunch of information.
7 agents.
Okay, yeah.
They know they have a mole.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna make a phone call and give you a bunch of information.
I found like it a little bit hard to believe that they never suspected Sullivan. I don't know. Maybe it was fine for you guys, but I was like, this is a little silly that like there's no indication.
Yeah, I think I felt that a bit on both sides, where I was like, clearly Frank, the rat, is the guy who was in the police academy and only joined your crew recently. But I do like the kind of rationale he gave, where it's like, look, I don't want to be you. I don't have any grand ambitions or whatever. But how many guys you've been working with who are like maybe think they could do what you do better than you do, and they've been like watching you for a long time, and they're upset and they're sick of it.
That was a
It's
fun
like, oh,
scene.
okay, I can kind of dig that, but like still.
That was another thing that was a little on the nose. Is his drawing of like that 100 rats climbing the building. I was like, okay, I get it, rats.
Yeah, where was that?
rats.
Where was that? Who drew that?
Frank Costello draws
Yeah.
that as he's about to confront Leo's
The shots of
character.
his drawings were so quick. I was I was too lazy to pause
it's
them and see what they were.
They probably have a longer shot, but they were like, yeah, we know that people will get it.
Because
really
there was a shot of the nun too. He like drew the nun naked or something. Is that what it was?
Yeah, something like that. But did she think that it was the priest that drew it? Because she gives
maybe.
the other priest such a disapproving look.
I didn't even think about that. That's hilarious. Oh man, yeah. Okay, last one. I was so confused when Sullivan decides to call Billy or the Costigan and says, "Hey, I'm Sullivan," like blah blah blah. Because I'm like, wait, that just gives away to Billy that you're the rat.
Yeah.
Because who else would try to call you on Queenan's phone? I don't know. Like maybe it makes sense. The more I watched it, I was kind of like, maybe this is just confusing to me because I've seen this movie so many times. And like, as we talked about, seeing the movie so many times kind of like it kind of ruins the experience this time around, because so much of what makes this movie cool are these little twists and turns. And yeah, that's how I kind of like struggled about
It's
whether
so funny.
what
We've
to rate
debated
it.
so many times if it's like a benefit, like a merit of a movie, if you get more out of it the more you watch it.
Yeah.
This movie is the other way.
Yeah.
I think that Gravity is like that
So you
as
guys
well.
agree
Oh
with me
yeah,
on
Gravity's
this
a
one.
one-watch movie. That's
There's some movies that are like a ride.
Yeah.
And you're like, whoa, that's interesting or exciting, but then once you know the cat's out of the bag, you're done. And this, I didn't expect this movie to be like that, but it tends toward it. I think
Right.
it's probably worse over multiple viewings.
Yeah, I don't know. And I kind
And
of,
not worse because it like falls apart. Like it's tight. It's just that, you're just not as stimulated by it.
for a movie like this that doesn't hit you in the heart as well as it does in the mind or the brain, the logic centers, because the cool thing about the movie is you're trying to figure out what's going on the whole time. You're not like feeling emotionally for these characters as much as you are like, whoa, this is a twist.
Yeah,
Whoa, we took a
totally.
big turn here. And so like when you already know that the turns are coming, it's like, not as interesting.
but so far from Scorsese's best.
Yeah.
He's made movies that are like so important cinematically, where he's like defined the cinematic language. He's talked about really important, edgy things.
Right.
And this is just a fucking good
So
gangster movie.
what do you think his best movies are?
Taxi Driver. Taxi Driver, Raging Bull. Like Raging Bull, he has such iconic shots in the boxing ring that like defined how boxing can be shot and like tell a story within the ring. And it's just there's so much more like substance to the movies where they feel important. Even King of Comedy maybe is a less entertaining movie, but like they're tackling with more meaningful subject matter. Like it feels like there's a point to the movie, and this is just it's a fucking sick ride, man. Like if I went to Universal Studios and I sat in a chair and they put this in my face, I'd be like, sick.
Ironically,
thank you for riding. Thank you for riding The Departed. Go fuck yourself.
And your mother. Ironically, given Martin Scorsese's comments about the Marvel universe, this is like his Marvel movie of his repertoire.
He's like, this isn't a perfect thing, but he's kind of doing a reverse Spielberg, where like his meaningful, thoughtful stuff is in the early part of his career, and then he's kind of just making the fun stuff now. And like that's not universally true. I mean, he made Silence, which is the opposite of fun.
Yeah,
but
I would really love to make a movie with Robert De Niro as an old and young Irish man.
Yeah, he's just like, fuck it, I don't care.
That's Martin Scorsese, by the way. That's what he sounds like.
No, he's like this.
I have no idea.
He's really soft spoken.
He's like this.
I thought I remembered. I thought I remembered that he was like
Scorsese.
I'm a little boy forever.
You want to be in a mafia movie?
Congratulations, you listened this long. This is your reward.
When we podcast this long, we get giddy.
Fuck, that's over. It's over. That's it. Tune in next week. Tweet at us at Carpool Critics. Next week we're going to be doing the Snyder Cut.
Watch the Snyder Cut.
Holy moly, the Snyder Cut. I don't know how to feel.
Not yet.
No, I hope I like it. Because otherwise 4 hours of...
It's going to be really hard for me to not go in thinking ahead of time this is going to suck.
Yeah.
Everything I've seen it's much, much, much better.
Okay, well, how bad is the other Justice
Fucking
League?
trash.
Like, no, okay, because like Man of Steel...
I'd give Man of Steel 5, I would give Justice League a 3.
Because Man of Steel has like parts where I'm like, I can see why people hate this. And there's other parts like, that's a really good part.
Okay, but...
If Justice League has really good parts like that, and it could be saved in the edit, because like garbage in, garbage out. You can only do so much with trash.
It's like all the worst parts of Man of Steel, but like from 10 different characters, and it's just jumbled and confused and so
like
Okay, wait,
Aquaman
it's
and
just so
Cyborg.
hard.
We're not talking about Batman v Superman, though, which is the more direct prequel to
I
this
just haven't
one.
seen that
That
yet,
one's
so I
worse.
don't...
And that one was horrible. That's all
horrible.
Snyder.
Mutha!
Yeah. And that one's worse.
You'll get it in a week, James.
Snyder, that's all Snyder, that movie, right? Yeah. And so this one is like, okay, Snyder was going to do it. He did like half the movie and then Joss Whedon took over.
But I think
So I'm like, is Snyder going to come in and fix it, or is he just going to make it worse?
This cut will be... I'm going to make a prediction. I think this cut would be 100 times better than if Zack Snyder had just finished the movie. I think that he has a couple years of
it's got
separation
retrospective.
to be like, okay, this is the stuff that worked, this is what didn't work. He gets to look at the fan feedback and be like, okay, this is how we build it out. Because they reshot stuff, they shot entirely new scenes. Like, it's a totally different movie that he's gotten, all these years of retrospective to analyze and like build it out.
Zach, if you fuck this up,
You fuck it up.
you're irredeemable. We'll know your worth.
Someone
We'll
will
know
have
your
had-
medal from this.
Someone will have had time to tell him to take back the whole Batman killing people thing.
Oh, I didn't realize Batman wasn't supposed to kill people.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yes, Superman.
So tweet at us at Carpool Critics. Email us carpoolcriticspodcast at gmail.com. Just kidding. That's the old one. Still works though. It's hello at carpoolcritics.ca.
Man, that was confusing.
Hello at carpoolcritics.ca.
I love you so much.
Love you.
Hello.
Go fuck yourself.
Go fuck your mother.
He's busy fucking my father.